What is up, everybody? Chris Fluke here, Chris Fluke Podcast, episode number 161. This episode, we're going to call this one Coaching Does Not Equal Telling, and Coaching Does Not Equal Yelling. And as you see, if you're watching this on YouTube, I got my hood up, man, because it's starting to get cold up here. The fall sports seasons are coming to an end. Winter sports are about to kick up. And back when I used to coach high school football, it was in those winter months that we would start to, we would take a break, but then we would start to ramp up our education system here where we're trying to become better coaches. And there's this great organization, Glacier Clinics, that would host these huge 3 or 4 day events at places like Atlantic City. You would go to these, casino, ballroom type things, right? And every hour there would be like 8 to 12 different topics that you could go and learn. You could choose whatever you wanted, how to play quarterback, strength and conditioning, sports psychology, Navy SEAL training, whatever it may be. And during these conferences, the rooms that were most packed were the rooms that were kind of touching on the hot, trendy topics. Certain plays that are kind of new, that are revolutionizing the sport. And I'm going to put that in quotes because most things that revolutionize are really just kind of recycled ideas over the generations, okay? Over the decades, I mean. So the rooms are packed. The new hot play, the new how to defend that certain play, right? Everybody wanted to know the X's and O's. They wanted to know certain drills and certain plays that would take their team to the next level, right? But what they weren't going in, the rooms that weren't as packed, were the rooms about communicating with athletes, with communicating with parents, with just trying to become a better coach. And with coaching, it is you could have the greatest plays in the world, right? But if you cannot communicate those plays to your athletes, they are not going to play at a level that you want from them. And I have these conversations over and over again. I just had one on Sunday. I was down at my parents' house and I was talking to my parents' neighbor. The guy was a youth president forever. And we talked about, everybody wants these changes. Everybody wants these big, elaborate things. But really, at the end of the day, what wins? It's the fundamentals and doing stuff, doing your plays better every week, right? It doesn't matter what the opposition's going to do if you don't execute. And when you have these great X's and O's as a coach, if you have a great scheme as a coach, if you have these great plays as a coach, but your team can't execute them, you're not going to be a successful team. How do you get your kids to do what you want them to do? We have to look at we have to take a holistic approach to coaching, all right? We have to look at things like building great teammates. We have to prioritize great effort, and we have to prioritize great attitude. We don't prioritize talent. Talent gets you in the door, but what separates the kid, what separates your team is not a talented bunch. It's going to be whether or not they care for each other, they're good teammates, they always show good attitude, and they always give great effort. Because as these kids develop, right, you might be the youth superstar. You might be the middle school superstar. You might be a damn good high school player. But eventually, as you continue to climb the ranks here, if you don't have a work ethic and you don't have a good attitude, once you're playing against kids where everybody's skilled, it is those little things that are going to separate you from the pack. Talent, speed, all that stuff, that could only get you so far. When the elite face the elite, it's going to be those that are willing to outwork. It's going to be those that show great attitude, those that show great effort, that are going to separate themselves from the pack. We want to build good human beings. We want people to take care of each other. We want people to have each other's back. We want kids to be responsible for their own actions. We want them to take responsibility in the field, getting cleaned up, from that all the way to the result on the scoreboard. That is what the intent should be. And how do you do that? You need to build and develop a caring and trusting relationship with all of your athletes. Now, my last coaching tenure, I was there for 2 years, and I just ended last year. I didn't put in the necessary time as I look back that I did my first time when I used to coach football at a different school, man. I was in the weight room every day. I was coaching JVs. I was coaching varsity. I was around these kids. It took 1 to 3 years to develop this trust and develop this relationship. Did you hear that? 1 to 3 years. It takes time. The kids need to know that you got their back, all right? And then in the end, when they know that, they're going to work for you. I've never really had moments of like having to have to demand certain things from kids, right? I'm going to build trust with them. I'm going to show them that I care about them. I'm going to learn their names. I'm going to talk to them about their siblings. I'm going to talk to them about where they live, what's their favorite classes, what do they do in their free time, what other sports they play. I'm going to put in all that work because I know in the long run, if I put in that work up front, I'm going to get some buy-in later down the line here. I'm not going to have to demand anything. I'm not going to have to yell. I'm not going to have to tell. I'm going to teach. I'm going to coach. I'm going to instruct, and then they're going to do what basically I want them to do. And what I want them to do is going to be, for the betterment of them. because they know that my interests are in their best interests. Now, last coaching venue, I didn't do that. I didn't have the time. It was a 25-minute drive. I wasn't getting over there enough. I wasn't able to build that trust, build that camaraderie with the kids. I just wasn't there enough. And that ended up hurting me, and it hurt. I said hurted. Sounds like something my daughter would say there. It ended up hurting my ability to just to build that trust with these guys. They were kind of pushing back a little bit. I wasn't in there enough, and it kind of hurt. And I decided, you know what, I don't have that fire. I don't have that desire to keep doing what I'm doing. I don't have that desire to be coaching high school football. I'm kind of doing a disservice to these kids. I'm going to step down. Those are two contrasting examples there. One, I was willing to put in the work. The other, I just didn't have that fire to do so. If you don't have the fire to do so, get out. It's better to get out 1 year early than 1 year too late. All right? Take that from me. I've walked down that path multiple times. You stick around a little bit too long, and you got a year. I don't want to say being miserable, but you're a little bit disgruntled, all right? So develop a caring and trusting relationship. Sorry, I went on a tangent there. Number one, holistic approach. You want to build great human beings, build great teammates, kids that show attitude, kids that show good attitude and good effort. You want to develop a caring and trusting relationship with your athletes, right? You want a positive environment there. You want to let these kids know, I don't care which path you take. You want to be a Division I athlete? Good. I got your back and I'm here for you. You want to just play and have fun with your friends? Good. I got your back and I'm here for you. That needs to be the message no matter what. People come in this gym, I train them for 3 years, and then they go their separate way, and then I run into them 2 years later. You know, sometimes parents have to, they feel that they need to explain themselves to me. They need to rationalize why they don't come anymore. I personally don't care. You want to come back? I got your back. I'm here for you. That's it. It's always going to be that. That's a message that we need to have for these kids. I got your back. You need something, I'm going to do my best to give you the best quality coaching I can. No matter what direction they want. They might stop playing their sport, and then they might go, you know, playing if you're a football player and you go play soccer, that used to be sacrilegious back in the day, right? Who cares, all right? Care about the kid, care about the human being, have their back. The third part of this, you want to build a relationship with the families, all right? I coach some sports, two sports that had two different identities, not identities, but two different environments, right? When I coach high school football, the parents, they're up in the stands. You could hear them, but there's not this direct, you can't have these direct conversations because they're kind of separated, right? They're removed from the playing field. When I coach wrestling, we would have these, you know, the parents, the bleachers are literally pretty much right alongside the mat there. You'd have weigh-ins, you'd have these long days, sometimes tournaments where you're there with the parents. You need to talk to them, you need to have these interactions with them. And you need to try to prioritize the messaging with them so that they could maybe relay that to their kids too. You need to foster a love for the sport. You need these kids to understand that they are in control of their outcomes. So how could parents help you in that regard? The parents could give their kids a little bit of freedom to explore and to learn. Don't do everything for them. All right, don't take their freedoms from home, right? If we want them to explore some creativity when they're out on the wrestling mat, if you want them to have some creativity on the soccer field, don't limit their freedoms. Give them some freedom to explore. When they're out in the backyard, don't have rigid, let them play, man. Don't have these rigid things like, I need you to go out there and do 100 throws off the wall, 100 kicks into the net, 100 whatever, 100 free throws if you're a basketball player, right? Give them some freedom, all right? We want these kids, we want to coach these kids on the playing field. We want to coach them to do what the play is designed, but once that ball is snapped in football, once that ball is put into play in basketball, there's going to be times where you're going to rely on their athleticism and you're going to have to rely on their creativity to make you look good. As a coach, we might call the worst play in the world in football, but if you have an athlete at quarterback, they might make up for it, right? And the only way that athlete's going to make up for that is if you give them some freedom to be who they are. So parents, we give them some freedom to practice what they want to practice, work some skills that they want to work, because those skills might apply in the game. I remember a local wrestler here at Lehigh, Darren Cruz, man, he did some funky thing to win a national championship a couple years. He said he practiced that move. I'd never seen the thing before, and I'm no wrestling expert, but I've been around the sport for a while. He did something crazy and exciting, right, to win that championship. He said he was messing around, rolling around, practicing that in the room, and then it won him. It was the one move that got him that national championship, right? So we have to give the kids the freedom to play and explore their techniques so that one day they might apply that into a game. Also, that goes along with that, don't do everything for them. They could get their cleats. They could fill up their water bottle. They could clean up the field after practice. Don't do that stuff for them. It allows them to understand that they're in control of their outcomes. They're in control of what goes on the field, behind the scenes, all of it, right? Let them be in control. of the outcomes. And when they do that, they're going to take ownership. And when they take ownership, they're going to give you great effort because they know I'm in control of my destiny here. And the amount of work that I put in, the amount of effort that I give, the attitude that I have is going to lead into whatever the result may be. Hopefully, it's going to be a positive one. And that's it, man. That's it. That's all I got. Be a coach. We want to develop good human beings. Develop a caring and trusting relationship with the athletes. This is going to take time. Put in the work. Ask the right questions. Get to know everybody on your team, from the best kid to the worst kid. Get to know them all, man. Care for them all. Don't be like, well, this kid doesn't have a future in the sport. That's such a, I'm going to say stupid. That's a stupid thing to say, all right? There's so many examples in the world of professional sports where people are, the 4'11", 97-pound kid as a freshman, makes it to the NFL, and they're an all-pro, they're an MVP, all that stuff. Don't say things like that. Coach them all. Be there for them all. Let them know you have their back. Let them know you're going to give them the best quality coaching that you could give them, no matter what direction they want. Be there for them. Let the families know you're there for them. Give them some freedom to explore, all that good stuff. And the most importantly, let them know you're in control of your outcomes. Your attitude, your effort, all of that stuff. You're in control. Take responsibility, take ownership, try to make yourself a little bit better. Chris Flick Podcast is on YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, all that stuff, guys. Like and subscribe to this page, please, on YouTube. Leave me a review on Apple. Leave me a review anywhere that you listen to this. We're trying to boost this up here. I'm trying to build a podcast here that could kind of help some local coaches, some local parents, and even myself as I do some brainstorming here, as I do this thought experiment. And put my thoughts and ideas out there, right? All trying to get a little bit better, right? We get a little bit better in the local community. We take care of ourselves first, and then we could start to expand and do something cool and exciting here. ChrisFlick.net's the website. I have a weekly newsletter that comes out. You just go there. There's a pop-up. We have a heck of a newsletter, something like that. Put your email in there. I'll get you on the list, and you'll get an email every Sunday at 7:30 a.m., which is all my random thoughts and ideas that I put out, man. Hope you guys liked this episode. Peace, everybody.